one cable news network that we know President Trump watches, so maybe he's tuning in to see their chief political anchor hit the hot topics table right now. Please welcome author of the new book, 3 Days in Moscow, Bret Baier.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Bret, it's so nice to see you.
Good to see you. We miss you.
I loved working with you so much. Just really quick before we start, your incredible wife, Amy, is here. I am so happy to see you, too. You are my couple goals. You know my husband, Ben. We've been married so long, and I love that you have, people need to know you have a really strong woman behind
I definitely do. I'm a lucky man. I'm playing above the rim, as you can see.
Well, is it just the two of you together, or do you have a third person living with you?
I don't. Yeah. I did hear about that.
Right?
I'm not sure.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Yes,
we don't, do we, babe? Okay.
No, she's not having it.
Okay, so let's start with the story that we tried to break down, but I failed endlessly at earlier, that Trump disclosed that he repaid his attorney, Michael Cohen, more than $100,000 last year. So is there any version of this payment where Trump didn't do anything wrong?
Listen, Rudy Giuliani came out and said this on an interview with Sean Hannity, and I think that that was part of the strategy to get it out there because they knew this was going to be disclosed. I agree with you, Sonny, that there's a lot more questions about money. Ronan Farrow has done some great reporting in New Yorker. There's 2 other payments that they're trying to track down. So I think there's a lot that we don't know yet. On the flip side, there's a lot that we don't know about the start of the investigation, and the IG is going to come out with a report in coming days that I think also needs to get as much time and coverage and attention.
Okay.
All right.
Apparently, you know, they're still hung up on leaks at the White House. And they haven't sort of stepped up and made an apology for this ridiculousness that's been going on. Now, as the man, as the guy who's leading the country, would you feel better if he stepped up and said, listen, this is not what we're doing. We don't condone this.
Yeah, well,
apologize.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you know, we cover all aspects of Washington, and as you know, it's very divided in the country. But there is something about decency. And I'm sorry that you and your family had to go through all that this week. Because, you know, it shouldn't have to be that way. And I think it's important to, you know, to make that clear.
Right.
Now, how they handle it and what they do, we're going to cover all sides of it. But I think as a country, we can be decent. And it pains us that you had to go through that.
So you think it would be a good idea? Just
well, I mean, I'm not advising it. I'm covering it, you know?
No, I understand, but you're talking about decency, and decency is important. And we have lots of young people who watch your network, who are taking a page out of that book. And does it, as an American, does it bother you that we can't seem to just say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake?
Yes, and I cover all of this. And if you watch my show, you know, some of the loudest critics of Fox don't watch my show. You know, I'm the news side, and there's an opinion side.
Right.
And I say to people, just watch my show 3 times, and then drop me an email or a tweet, tell me what you think. And so, you know, I'm telling you as a person here, do I think decency should drive the day? 100%. I'm going to cover all sides. You know, fairly, so people can make up their mind.
I watch your show every night.
So since you are the news guy, you're not an opinion guy, you're not a pundit, don't you think it's a dangerous time for the news right now with this idea that everything is fake? Everything he says, if he doesn't like it, if it's negative, Trump says it's fake news. I think that does you a disservice. What do you think?
Yeah, and I think that, you know, any time that any reporter who's trying to report things fairly gets over their skis, no matter their ideological bent, it hurts us overall, journalistically. I saw Jake in this very hot seat, and I thought he did a nice job. But he said some things that I identified with, and that is, you know, there are facts out there. And we need to try to strive to get there. But if you go too far and you throw your opinions into it, either side, it hurts us all journalistically.
But if Trump keeps lying every day, he's up to 9 a day, 9 a day.
Yeah.
How is anybody going to his base doesn't know what's the truth and what isn't the truth because they believe what he says.
Yeah. From their point of view, they say that the resistance is going over the top and lying about, you know, X, Y, and Z. So you have to call facts facts. And I agree with you. I mean, you try.
Yeah.
It's like drinking from a fire hose, though. Every day, I'm one tweet away from changing my rundown.
Well,
you know,
because it's so fluid and fast moving. But, you know, people do see Fox News as the administration's mouthpiece. And I don't know that it helped that it's been reported that your colleague, Sean Hannity, talks to the president nightly before bed about the day's musings. Do you think that's appropriate? I understand Sean is on the opinion side of the network.
Right.
But as a representative of the network that Sean is
right.
Is that
well, first
appropriate?
of all, the network overall is not a mouthpiece. You know, there may be opinion shows that have direct relationship with the president, and Sean is not calling me and giving me a download of the call.
Yeah.
I was on his show the other night, and he said to me, how much problem do I cause the news division? Scale of 1 to 10. And I said, you know, a solid 6, but it depends on the day. And listen, we're going to cover it. There are people who have opinions and are clearly driven and have a relationship with this president, and they're going to do their thing. I have horse blinders on from 6 to 7 to try to, you know, do all sides fairly.
Now, Bret, let's talk about your book, 3 Days in Moscow. It takes us back to a historic summit President Reagan orchestrated 30 years ago, and it's coming on the heels of President Trump's own summit with North Korea, which
May not happen.
could be iffy, we don't know. Tell us a little bit about it.
So I wrote the book. It's the same format that I wrote this other book about Eisenhower, 3 Days in January. And it looked at the 3 last days of the Eisenhower administration and kind of bounced back and showed how Eisenhower got there. Well, this is the Moscow summit, the 4th with Reagan and Gorbachev. And the 3 days there that we uncovered all these new details and stories. And I bounced back and show how Reagan gets to that moment. You know, he talked about communism falling apart all throughout his life. But that relationship with Mikhail Gorbachev changed the whole dynamic. And when he speaks to Moscow State University students, it's really something. If you just Google it and you watch it on YouTube, no matter your ideology, left or right, it'll give you goosebumps.
Well, you know, Reagan and Gorbachev had a great relationship, I remember. And Gorbachev was a good guy. I don't know about this one with Putin and Trump, though. I mean, I'm very suspicious of this particular relationship. Are you?
And you should be.
Yes.
I think that, you know, it's clear that Russia attacked the United States, and in a big way.
That's right.
And I don't think we know fully the extent of that. I will say that they've been attacking the U.S. for 8 decades, you know, going back to when Reagan was the head of the Screen Actors Guild. He was fighting communism because the Soviet Union was trying to get in. I think people want the president to speak out more about Putin. The administration.
Why doesn't he, do you think?
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. That's right.
Bret, I want to thank you so much for coming here. You know, I am such a fan of yours professionally and personally, and I just want to thank you for your friendship for so long, you and your wife, and this amazing new book. All of you can come, and I'm sorry, you can also catch him on the special report every night. I'm not good at reading a prompter as you are, and his new book, 3 Days in Moscow, is available now. Everyone in here is getting a copy.